It happened. It happened. It finally happened yesterday. Welcome into the Farzy Show, presented by DestinationRetirement.com. My name is Marc Farzetta. Welcome in here to the Steven Singer Studios. In case you didn't catch the reaction show yesterday, I did an instant reaction show. We did about 40 minutes just on celebrating the idea that James Harden is now here in Philadelphia to play with Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, who are still on the Sixers roster. A huge win. Love the deal. Absolutely love the deal for the 76ers. The Nets got better too. Let's not, I know we're all really down on Ben Simmons, and rightfully so. But what that team needs is a guy that can be a lockdown defender and a guy that can facilitate, and he can certainly do both those things. It's just a matter of whether or not some other guys are going to be available down the stretch. And judging by Kevin Durant's reaction last night, and we'll let you see what he had to say as part of the NBA All-Star Draft, along with LeBron James and the TNT boys. Oh, man, Kevin Durant does not seem like he's in a good mood. But back on the Sixers. Here's some of the things that I'm not going to redo the reaction show. I know a lot of you guys that participate in our chat every day. We're also watching that live show yesterday. But just to give you the synopsis of it, I love this deal. When it comes down to the two first round picks they gave up, I'd rather give up those two first round picks that are down the line. One could be this draft. The next could be as late as 2028, I believe. So it's going to be down the line. If you could hold on to Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle, I'd rather do that and give away two future first-round picks, especially because I see the Sixers being a pretty damn good basketball team over the next couple of years. So the first-round pick this year will be a very late-round pick, if it all goes to plan. And then down the line in 2027 or 2028, whenever that first-round pick actually vests or kicks in, and let's not forget, if the Sixers are god-awful, in both years that pick can flip to, whether it's 2017 or 2027 or 2028, which feels like not even real numbers, not even real years at this point, it's still protected picks 1 through 8. So it's more than just lottery protected. You get even the higher rate there, you get the 1 through 8. So that's nice to see from the 76ers. Now, the other thing about this is that this is the big deal. Now, what do I mean by that? The process was all for this, to get to this point. You have advanced the process farther than it's ever been when you're at this point right now by going and actually getting that superstar. More so than when you got Jimmy Butler here in Philadelphia. You got a guy in James Harden who's been a league MVP, been a 3-time scoring champion. He's played the point guard position for a number of years now since Mike D'Antoni waved his magic wand and made James Harden a point guard. So now you don't have to rely on Tyrese Maxey as much of playing a position that he's never played before this year. So putting James Harden more in that role helps the Sixers tremendously in terms of overall offense and chemistry and flow. And we'll see if that proof is in the pudding when they actually start playing games together. No official word as to whether or not he's going to play tonight against when the Sixers return to action tonight. So we'll see how that plays out. But right now, what this is going to do for the Sixers is give them a legit point guard who's won an MVP as a point guard and a guy that's coming into a situation where there is one main guy, and that's Joel Embiid. So if you're running point, you know that's the guy you're looking for. Joel Embiid knows he has a reliable guy on the outside to kick the ball out to shoot a three, shoot a jump shot, crash the lane himself, whatever it might be. But one of the other things we can look at with this team is that we're going to have to get used to a very, very slow style of basketball. And we might already be used to that, considering Joel Embiid goes to the line a hell of a lot, almost more than anybody in the NBA. So when you think about him going to the line a lot, and then you also think about James Harden, who gets fouled and goes to the line a lot, we're going to be seeing a lot of foul shots. Unfortunately, both are very good free throw shooters, but unfortunately, it's not going to be a lot of frosty freeze-outs when somebody misses 2 free throws in a row, unfortunately, at least in that regard. However, that's all about the opponent. And the opponent coming in March 10th is going to be Ben Simmons. Now, I have never been able to participate in the frosty freeze-out, so I'm a little sketchy on the rules. I'm not exactly sure. But I reached out yesterday because somebody hit me up saying that they were really excited for the frosty freeze-out. And I was like, well, just one frosty freeze-out? Like, how does it work? So as it turns out, and I didn't know this, the opposing player misses 2 free throws, both free throws are a trip to the line. The crowd gets frosties, right? And then if it happens again in the game, the crowd then gets, I believe it's a medium fries. And then if it happens again, I believe it's a small fries. So we're going to be a bunch of fat bastards. after March 10th when Ben Simmons comes here, because they're just going to be fouling him and sending him to the line, fouling him and sending him to the line, fouling him and sending him to the line. And we're just going to be here to basket it and celebrate him missing those free throws. So that's something we can look forward to. The other thing that I'm really looking forward to is seeing if Joel Embiid can develop this other part of his game. Now, you might say, oh, what does Joel Embiid need to do? He's the MVP candidate now. It's not James Harden anymore. This is very much Joel Embiid's team. And you're absolutely right in thinking that. However, I want to see how Joel Embiid adapts his game to his new teammate. And I'm not saying he's got to make crazy changes or anything like that. It's just that one thing we never see from Joel Embiid, and this isn't a complaint, this is an observation, because I love JoJo. We never see him run up to the top of the key, set a screen, and then go to the basket. We never see a pick and roll when it comes to Joel Embiid. We see him get a pick, and then he just kind of stands there like, oh, give me the ball. And he just stands there. Cut to the rim. With James Harden in this offense, James Harden running this offense, James Harden running point, I want to see if Joel Embiid can do part of that. Now, James Harden's probably also thinking along those same lines. I have never played with a more versatile player than Joel Embiid. I mean, yes, Kevin Durant's an MVP. Obviously, he's won championships. We all know. But just in terms of versatility from the big man position, I want to see how much James Harden is going to trust his big man to make plays. And I also want to see if Joel Embiid is going to help this team by making another threat, by being able to bust to the basket after setting a pick at the top of the key for James Harden. And both those guys are going to the rim where James Harden can either do a little bounce pass in the paint. James Harden can throw it up in the air for Joel Embiid to throw it down. I want to see this offense become explosive. There are going to be times where we're going to have a lot of free throws. We're going to foul, go to the line, foul, go to the line. But when it comes to watching Joel Embiid, I want to see him play explosive basketball with James Harden. And I want to see James Harden do that exact same thing here in Philadelphia. Now, they got into this a lot on the TNT broadcast yesterday, and Charles Barkley, I was shocked that the guys on the broadcast were disagreeing with Charles Barkley. There is no doubt in my mind that James Harden needs to be the second best player on the Sixers and needs to threaten Joel Embiid as the leading scorer. And that's more or less what Chuck was saying yesterday on the broadcast. And I'm going, I totally agree with this. Look at me, Charles Barkley. I played like CYO basketball. He played in the MVP of the NBA, gold medalist and all that stuff. And look at us on the same page. And then everyone else, Shaq and Kenny, they were all disagreeing with Chuck, saying, no, he doesn't have to be that second best player. You're damn right he does. Who was going to go to Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey? Love them both. Ain't happening. You made this move to put the process at a head. You made this move to get that superstar to play next to your superstar in Joel Embiid to win you a championship. That's why we went through all the years of direct to get to this point. Now it's a matter of actually seeing it through by winning a championship. The Sixers have been great at being competitive during the regular season and notching the number one seed in the regular season, getting to the second round of the playoffs. That's been great. Getting past that point has been next. It just hasn't happened for this team for a number of reasons. You could talk about the quadruple doink from Kawhi Leonard. You could talk about Ben Simmons passing to Matisse Thybulle. You can do all of that. But as of right, you can talk about Ben Simmons scoring 1 point against the Boston Celtics 4 years ago. Unbelievable. You can talk about all this stuff. Now they have the two stars, legit stars, perennial all-stars, both MVP caliber players. One already has the MVP trophy in his back pocket. You went through all that trek, all that losing to get to this point right now. Now it's time to actually bear fruit. I'm not one of the guys that's ever said the process worked. Look, you have Joel Embiid. Oh, you had Ben Simmons. Oh, look, you got Jimmy Butler here. You got Tobias. No. The process doesn't work until you've gotten at least past the point where the process started, and that's what I always go to. You got to get past the second round of the playoffs. You got to get past Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. You have to get to the NBA Finals a couple of times. You didn't go through 4 years of dreck just to get to the finals maybe once. That's not why you did that. That's a very low bar considering the suffering we went through as a fan base. We forfeited 4 years even, of our Sixers fandom for maybe one trip to the playoffs. I get watching Joel Embiid's pretty awesome, but I'd rather watch a parade go down Broad Street a couple of times. Here's Charles Barkley. This was, I think, right before the draft. Here's Charles Barkley yesterday during the broadcast talking about what the Sixers window should be right now with James Harden. Take a listen to this.
today they push all their chips into the middle of the table and says, we're going all in. And they got a 2-year window with Joel, who's the MVP. Can anybody beat the Milwaukee Bucks? To me, the Milwaukee Bucks are still the best team in the East. No disrespect to Chicago or Miami, but to me, today was all about the 76ers. They got James Harden going to have to play better. He's been a little inconsistent. Him and Joel Embiid, like Shaq says, they're going to have to figure it out on the fly because this is their window. The next 2 years, in my opinion, is their window. They got James this year and next year. They have to win the championship in the next 2 years.
I could not agree with that more. And they do have him under contract next year. One of the things we didn't get to because, well, we were just doing the show. We jumped right on as soon as the trade happened, was that Harden, as part of the deal, already opted in for his $47 million player option for next year. And I'm fine with that. I'm so happy the Sixers made the deal now, and I know this has been a point of contention for some fans. I'm so happy they made the deal now for all the reasons why I said I'd hope they'd make the deal yesterday before the trade deadline. You get a little trial run here between now and the end of the season. You see how it works with James Harden and Joel Embiid. They get their feet wet with each other. I'd rather do that and have 2 opportunities in the next 2 years to win a championship as opposed to have 1 opportunity to win a championship in the next 2 years. So doing that now and paying what you paid, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, the 2 first-round picks, and obviously Ben Simmons, I'd rather pay that now and have 2 opportunities than only have 1 opportunity to do it because I don't know what James. Look, I'm not out of my mind here. I watched James Harden with the Nets this year, and I know that you can look at all the problems they've had with the Nets and getting Kyrie Irving for half the time, some of the time. That makes sense. Kevin Durant's been injured. It hasn't been a picture-perfect scenario out there or up there in Brooklyn. And James Harden has not played well. Career low career low in three-point percentage, 3 years in the league. He's not playing well this year. He's had the hamstring injury. We'll get to that in a minute as well. But when it comes to James Harden coming here, I'm not expecting him to be that MVP player. I'm expecting him to be that all-star player. And I'm expecting him to be a good facilitator as a point guard. I'm expecting him to hit threes for this team. And I'm expecting him to be that great outlet for Joel Embiid. And I'm also expecting him to be a guy that could score about 20 to 25 points per game. I think he could get around 25, and that's exactly what I was looking for. I wanted the guy to come here that would be between Tobias Harris down here and Joel Embiid way up here. I wanted a guy like James Harden, whether that was Dame Lillard or James Harden, to be right in the middle of that. Now think about your starting 5 here. Think about it for a second. You got James Harden running the 1. Tyrese Maxey will obviously be your number 2. You have Matisse Thybulle coming in as your number 3. Your power forward still is Tobias Harris, which they really need to eliminate the power part of that forward. I don't know. And then you obviously have Joel Embiid as your center. That's a pretty damn good lineup. Now, off the bench, they need a center. I know people have talked a lot about Seth Curry. You're not going to be struggling offensively on this basketball team. So Seth Curry leaving is fine. I mean, thanks for everything. I really liked him here in Philadelphia. It worked out, paid dividends more than I thought it would. But getting James Harden in here helps your offense more than Seth Curry being in your offense. So I am fine, absolutely fine with Seth Curry being part of this deal. Would have rather it have been Danny Green, but he can't have it all. But the one that bothers me in terms of actual players that they gave up is Andre Drummond. The Sixers are a terrible rebounding team. Terrible. I was painting it for you yesterday when I showed you the reports that were out there about Andre Drummond. They're an awful rebounding team. I didn't want to give up Andre Drummond. Like our friend Michael KB told us yesterday, when it comes to the center position, you can get a backup off the buyout market. Maybe you promote somebody within the organization to take on more minutes. But right now, you're the worst NBA team in rebounding. You've got to get somebody in here to help when Joel Embiid's not in these games. So people are going to have to get a lot more aggressive on the boards, period, or the Sixers are going to have to make sure they go out there and get somebody who's a backup center. Bassey ain't it. Not for nothing. They need to go out there and get somebody. I know Paul Millsap's here now. He's been injured. He hasn't been playing. He hasn't played for, a month and a half? So it's been a minute since he's been out there. And by the way, Paul Millsap being a part of this is hilarious to me. Because, folks, I'm in no way, shape, or form ancient in my age. But when it comes to the old Paul Millsap, I am old enough to remember when Sixers fans were like, just let's go out and get Paul Millsap. It was like the biggest name of the free agency. I want to say it was like 2016, 2015, whatever it was. I think he was leaving Utah, and I think he was going to Atlanta. Oh, just get Paul Millsap here, man. Get Paul Millsap and Andre Iguodala. Get them on the court together. I think it was when he re-signed with the Jazz. It wasn't when he went to Atlanta. That's too recent. So maybe it was like 2010, whatever. But it's like Paul Millsap would be the answer to some of our problems. And now Paul Millsap is a throw-in for James Harden. It's good to be in Philly, folks. It's good to be in Philly. I haven't jumped on this in a while, but I'm gonna just open it up again. I really don't like Ben Simmons. I strongly dislike Ben Simmons, and I want him to get booed more than anyone has ever gotten booed in Philadelphia. And I saw a couple of people jump to this defense yesterday saying that he had mental health issues. I know some people have been kind of coy and kind of circled it, not necessarily jumped on it. I don't believe you, Ben. And here's what I'm reserving. I want to hear from him. Because everything that's come out so far has been from Ben's camp. It hasn't been from Ben. Now, Ben addressed the team, and according to the reports, all he said was he wasn't mentally ready to play the game, which people jumped on as mental health issues right out of the gate. I didn't do that because I'm not saying, like, you could be mentally not ready to do something. That doesn't mean that you got anxiety, you got depression, you got OCD, whatever it might be, anything of the more common names that we'll label mental health issues with. Maybe he's just not, mentally ready to play the game. Okay, fine. And whatever that could mean, it can mean a whole bunch of things, but I'm not necessarily going out there being like, oh, he's got a mental health disorder. Like, I'm not jumping to that. But if you're Ben or you're Ben's camp, how do you not squash that if it's not true? And he's about to join the Nets for their road trip, like, now. A guy that wouldn't practice with the Sixers, a guy that wouldn't play for the Sixers, a guy that would take fines as opposed to playing. Now it looks like all you need to do if you have mental health issues is get traded to Brooklyn Nets. And that is a disgrace. I'm looking forward to hearing from Ben. I want to hear his side of it in the interest of fairness, because I don't want to just jump all over that without hearing him talk about it. But if you're his camp and you let all that out there and you dragged it through the mud after society has made such great strides in giving a little bit more compassion, a little bit more understanding to people that go through those mental health issues. Like, I never thought in the city of Philadelphia, and I remember Lane Johnson when he went through his stuff. One of the things I haven't really done since I started the digital format here, since I started this brand of show, I haven't listened to sports talk radio. Like, I maybe caught a couple of minutes here and there, my buddy Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie when I'm driving around, but that's it, really. And I was in the car. I think I was dropping my daughter off at school. And it was right after Lane Johnson wasn't playing for a mysterious reason. And we didn't know at the time it was a mental health issue. And I remember one of the callers saying something along the lines of, if you pay me $10 million and I don't have any issues, I can go out there. I don't care. I got to be there no matter what the personal matter is. And I remember thinking, like, when somebody says personal matter or personal issue, all questions cease. Like, I trust that person to come to me whenever the problem is actually surfacing. The problem's not going to be, I stubbed my toe. I can't play. I stubbed my toe. I'm going to trust it's going to be something serious. I couldn't turn off my video game. I was having a really great score and I couldn't turn it off. Sorry, I missed the game. Like, I don't jump to that in my mind. When somebody says personal issue, I go, whatever you got to do, whatever you need. And I heard that, and it was disappointing because I feel like a lot of us have made that huge stride with Brandon Brooks's issues with anxiety, most recently with Lane Johnson's issues with depression. And I feel like as a society, it's become a bigger story worldwide. Simone Biles, obviously, is another one. So for us, I feel like as a society, we've made huge strides. And for someone to come along like Ben Simmons and his camp to go, oh, well, we got mental health issues, let's just drag that through the mud, I think that's just an absolute disgrace. And as I said yesterday in the Instant Reaction show, when Ben Simmons wants to talk about Philadelphia fans or reports want to come out about how Ben Simmons doesn't want to play in front of Philadelphia fans, I always go back to this. Philly fans wanted nothing but Joel Embiid to get better and improve and continue to do that because we saw the potential in him. And at times, we were hard on the guy. Stop with the cheeseburgers, get in better shape, no Shirley Temples, take your talent more seriously. And Joel Embiid and the Sixers fan base were in unison. We were together on it. And Joel Embiid got better. I'm not saying it's because he got booed or had any type of run-in with the fans or anything stupid like that. I'm saying they both agreed that he could be better. And he went out and he got better. Sixers fans think Ben Simmons could be better. Ben Simmons can be a lot better. He can be a perennial all-star and move all his way up to a perennial MVP candidate if he just shot a jump shot and hit some free throws. But Ben Simmons, with Joel Embiid, his shortcomings were only highlighted because Joel Embiid got so much better as his career went on, where Ben Simmons kind of got at a comfortable level. This is as comfortable as I am playing at this level, and I'm not going to go past that. And that's the ultimate shame when you look at Ben Simmons in his career here in Philadelphia. The other part of it is this. Ben is going to play really well against the Sixers. And that's kind of what pisses me off. Not the fact that the Sixers are going to be playing a better version of a player, like it would for anybody. But it'll make people go, oh, you should have kept him, whatever. And that's just not the case. It's more of a reason to get rid of him. Because in order for him to play at the highest possible level he could play at, he's got to be disrespected. Disrespected to the point of how he can respond on the court without really going outside his comfort zone. And what I mean is this. Ben's not going to come here and shoot 10 threes. Ben's not going to come here and shoot 80% from the free throw line. That's not happening. But in that game on March 10th, after he is booed mercilessly by Philadelphia fan base, what's going to happen is he's going to go out there. He's going to play tough defense as he already did against James Harden last year when he played against James Harden. He's going to play top notch. He's going to attack the rim, and he's going to score points and not just be a great defender, but score points in that game. He's going to play well. And some people will go, oh, well, should have kept him. No, you shouldn't. It would have never happened here. And normally, I would look at a player that left Philadelphia or wanted out of Philadelphia, and I go, you know what? I wish nothing but the best. Good luck to you. I can't stand Ben Simmons. I hope his career is an utter failure from this point on. Just so I don't have to hear the people go, oh, well, we should have kept it. No, because it wasn't going to happen here. The change of scenery thing might actually apply to Ben Simmons. And why do I say that? Not just because he's going to be playing with Kevin Durant, he's going to be playing with Kyrie Irving, but because every report has come out about how he can't play with Joel, he can't play in front of Philadelphia fans, he doesn't like Doc Rivers, and he needs to leave Philadelphia. Like I said, if you have mental health issues, maybe the only thing you need is to be traded to the Brooklyn Nets. And that'll just cure everything for you. Anyway, one more thing from the draft last night, ladies and gentlemen. This is the NBA draft, that is. This is the final two players on the board, Rudy Gobert and James Harden. LeBron James, Kevin Durant are your captains. There's no way they didn't have a meeting before, a text exchange before saying KD to LeBron James, yo, you know you're picking James Harden last, right? Like, there's no way this guy is taken early in the game. Like, there's no way we're taking James Harden early. And LeBron's like, hey, man, it's your team. Yeah, sure, I'll go along with whatever. So here it is, the last two picks in the draft, Rudy Gobert and James Harden. Here's how it played out.
Yeah. I'm going to need some size and some defense in the interior.
Yeah.
Especially with Giannis and LeBron James
Without
playing such great basketball this year. I need somebody to offset that, so I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert.
I agree.
That worked out nicely for you.
It worked out nicely.
I mean, you can't let people run through the lane and dunk all the time. Got somebody defending back there.
Hey, chess, not checkers. Hey, when somebody want out, you let them go. Don't let them come back. I'm with you, KD.
That's why I cut my hair off. I was like, I'm gone.
So James Harden goes to
LeBron
James as the final selection of the All-Star draft.
Shaq.
He hasn't played. Is he healthy?
Who's that?
James, he hasn't played.
He's
what
missed.
happens if he doesn't?
He got traded. He's healthy now.
He's missed the last three with a hammy. and now we know why LeBron carries a clipboard with him to the draft.
Hey, LeBron.
Oh, my
Trust
gosh,
me right
man.
now. He's rubbing some ice hot on that thing. He's playing the next game.
We're all thinking it. I love the GIFs that came out yesterday of like the I forget who the wrestler is. I'm not a big wrestling guy, but the guy that comes out in the wheelchair and he's got his foot up in a cast and he takes the quilt off. I like the touch of the quilt. Takes the quilt off. It's a fake leg in the wheelchair, and he gets up. He starts walking around on two legs, and he's fine. I did enjoy those GIFs rather a lot yesterday. I certainly did. But here's where we're at right now with the Sixers. Getting off of the Ben Simmons topic for a second, but there's no way Kevin Durant's not butthurt over all this. There's no way, and I do believe James Harden was holding out in terms of the hamstring injury, maybe making it seem like it was a little bit more. And some of you might be thinking, oh, well, really nice work, detective. But in all seriousness, I think he knew that if he just let it out there that he was going to leave, especially at the end of the year, that the Nets would be in a position to try to get something, at least something for him. And boy, they got a little bit more than just a little something for him. They got something to help them rebuild their franchise, especially when it comes to where they could be in just a couple of years, maybe even next year. So when it comes to all that, the Nets did something that they had to do as an organization, was just make sure they didn't lose James Harden for nothing, and they did a good job in doing that. But overall, if you're Kevin Durant, you're even Kyrie Irving, if you're Steve Nash, if you're a Nets fan, if you're one of like 8 Nets fans out there, you got to be pretty pissed off. You were supposed to be the next big 3. And you have Kyrie Irving going through all kinds of things off the basketball issues, whether it's being vaccinated, whether it's getting in the right headspace for himself. You have Kevin Durant coming up with injury, Kevin Durant going in COVID protocol. You have James Harden having his injuries, James Harden looking pretty chunky, then James Harden looking pretty normal again. And it all comes down to Kevin Durant's big toe on the three-point line last year against the Bucks. If that doesn't happen, it's a totally different ball game. Maybe you're talking about them as an NBA champion. From Kevin Durant's big toe to now, it's been downhill, or it's been an uphill climb for the Nets, rather. And they were supposed to be the next big thing in the NBA, and that ain't happening. I look forward to them failing miserably. Oh, it's classless. Why do that? Well, because I don't like Ben Simmons even a little bit, and I've never looked at an athlete more and gone, man, I hope that guy fails. I really, really, really hope that guy fails. Because when you think about it, I know we joke about this term a lot, like whether or not so-and-so is a Philly guy. You think he's a Philly guy? Bring his lunch pail to work and all that. Ben Simmons is the anti-Philly guy, all right? And I hate to use that cliche, I really do, but it's the best way to paint the picture. In Philadelphia, we look at athletes and we treat them like they're our kids. Like we really do. Like it doesn't like you love your kid. You always love your kid. That doesn't mean you don't yell at your kid from time to time. That doesn't mean you don't discipline your kid from time to time. And that's how we look at our kids. And sometimes the kids go, yeah, you know what? And very rare. How often do you talk to your kid and your kid looks at you and you go, that's a great point. That's a great point, Dad. I don't understand why I took the juice box from you and just squeezed it all over the living room carpet. I don't know why I did that. That was ridiculous. It's a good point by you, Dad, when you called me out on that. Thank you for that. I'll do my best to try to be better. Wouldn't it be amazing if that's how it worked? My daughter's 2.5, so she's not really doing the full sentences yet, but that's how she looks at me. I can tell. I don't know what I was doing, Dad. I just felt like doing it. And, you make a good point. Yeah, okay. That'll be the day. But anyway, that's how we look at our athletes. And Joel Embiid, he responded to that. We called him out for stuff that we thought he was full of crap on. He improved. He knew that he could be better. He improved. He had a son. He became an actual father, and he wanted to improve and be better for his son. Like, that's a beautiful thing. Everybody was on the same page. That is a Philly mindset. That's what we want in our athletes. Bryce Harper has that. That's what we want. Oh, it's not going well? What are you going to do to improve? Great. We're here for it. Ben Simmons is like, nah. I came into the league pretty good. I'm going to try to get a little better, but I'm not going to go outside my comfort zone. I'm not going to start shooting threes. I'm not going to develop my mid-range game. I'm not going to become a better free throw shooter. That's where I'm at right there. And the biggest moment and the most defining moment of all that was deferring to Matisse Thybulle with 3:30 to go in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. And I remember being at that game. My buddy Bennett, awesome, brought me to that game. And I'll never forget when that happened. And it was like the air was let out of him. It wasn't, Ben, you suck. What the hell? Like the moment was so terrible that we didn't respond as many fans would respond, as many people would predict Philly fans to respond with, Ben Simmons sucks. Get out of here. That was terrible. Like in the moment, it was shock. And then maybe a minute or two later, it was like, did that really happen? And then after the game, that's when the venom really came out. You could hear people leaving the stadium, screaming and yelling. I know I did an instant reaction as I was walking out of the stadium, and I was still dumbfounded at what I saw. Other people were just rageful at what they saw. But that was the ultimate moment. Ben, the basket is right there. The only thing you've been comfortable in consistently in your career on the offensive end of the court is dunking a basketball. If you're making the play, that's the only thing you're comfortable doing. You're not shooting, obviously, but if you're trying to get rid of the basketball, yeah, facilitator, sure, you're more comfortable. But in terms of actually having the ball in your hands, the most comfortable thing when it comes to attempting to score is a dunk. And he passes the Thibault with Danilo Gallinari, as I always like to say, defensive stalwart Danilo Gallinari trailing him. He either didn't want to get blocked, he didn't want to get fouled, he didn't want to go to the line in a crunch situation. Instead, he deferred to Thibault and then got butthurt when Joel Embiid referred to it as the turning point of the game. Not just him passing up on the dunk, but also missing a free throw. That was Matisse Thybulle. Somehow Matisse Thybulle didn't cry in his Cheerios. And then he got upset when Doc Rivers said he didn't know whether or not he could win a championship with him as his point guard. And Doc is delusional. Like, I'm glad nobody bought what Doc said after the fact when he tried to justify. I wasn't saying I couldn't win with them. I was saying I don't know. Like, I didn't know anything of that. No, Doc, like, we know what you were saying because we all agree with you on that. And now we don't have to worry about it. Now he's not our problem. Now we don't have to talk about Ben Simmons and whether or not he'll develop into anything. We can only talk about what James Harden is right now in his career. And it's interesting. It's a turn of event for Sixers fans to talk about somebody who's going to be on the downside of their career as opposed to somebody who's, on the upside of their career, somebody whose trajectory is only going up. Well, James Harden's trajectory is only going to be going down. So it's like, all right, how much does he have left in the tank? It went from how good can a guy be to how much does he have left in the tank? How good can Ben Simmons be if he continues to work on if he works on his game? No, it's not like that anymore. How much does James Harden have as a 32-year-old? How much does he have left in the tank at this point? And that's where we're at. That's where we're at, Sixers fans. No guests today, just me and you. So I got a chat check coming up for you in just a second. But let me tell you about our awesome presenting sponsor here, the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Michael Seibert, you've heard me talking about him now for a little bit. RICP is a financial advisor for the Eagles fan. That's right, Eagles fan only. And I'm sure Sixers fans too. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and an affiliate of 1847 Financial. Let him create a written financial plan for your accumulation years and your distribution years. See, James Harden probably more closer to the distribution years, if you know what I'm saying. With pensions few and far between, you're on your own when you retire with only a 401k or an IRA. So let Mike help you turn your assets into an efficient income stream that you can't outlive. Mike Seibert is here to put a plan in place to help you retire, or if you're already in retirement, a plan that helps you alleviate people's biggest fear, running out of money. Come on, Eagles fans and Sixers fans. With stock market volatility and taxes probably going up, you need someone as your financial head coach with the experience to tackle these obstacles. With over 30 years in the financial game, Mike Seibert is a seasoned veteran who is committed to helping Eagles fans get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035, or visit destinationretirement.com. That's destinationretirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement. Mike will get back to you and talk to you about how he can help. And as always, go Birds, and here they come. How about our friend Steven Singer? Now, 2 o'clock today, your last chance, 2 o'clock today, to get the gold dip rose from Steven Singer Jewelers, the 24-karat gold dip rose. Show it to you one more time, folks. Come on. You get it by 2 o'clock today. You order it at IHateStevenSinger.com. It'll arrive in time for Valentine's Day. You do it after today, forget about it. You're paying shipping and handling for overnight. That's why people say I hate Steven Singer. He makes buying the gifts too easy. Oh, I'm sorry, honey, I forgot. Well, Steven Singer is here for you. It's so damn easy. I hate Steven Singer. Why did I think of that? Well, I don't know why. But here's the beautiful Emerald City Gold Dip Rose, 24 karat gold. Stunning. Just look, it's beautiful. Emerald City, it's the highest selling rose that they've had. It's just that beautiful. Get yours before they're gone, exclusively and only available at Steven Singer Jewelers. It's the #1 gift this Valentine's Day. Steven's famous Gold Dip Rose started just $59, and they come with a lifetime guarantee. I got a whole bouquet of these Johns upstairs for my wife. Fast, free shipping. Arrive in time for Valentine's Day. By 2 o'clock today, you got to order real roses for the real love of your life. Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the great people at WinView, the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the biggest sports fan? If you have those friends and family members who think they know everything about sports, challenge them to WinView contest and see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. That's how you break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers. Super Bowl coming up Sunday. Bengals, Rams. Who you got? Also some NBA stuff you can get involved with as well. It's not a sports book, though, and it's not daily fantasy. WinView is a social gaming app where fans can win real money prizes on making predictions of the games that they love so much. Our chat check today is brought to you by the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. Before we get to the chat check, let me just tell you about how great Rothman is. Remember the old you? Emphasis. Remember the one that didn't have to put up with a fickle knee, a finicky hip, or a shoulder that no longer does what a shoulder should do? Well, the Rothman approach to orthopedics is what you need to get you back to being you, back to running, walking, working, playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. And hopefully you're following all that there is to follow across all sports with PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. Now let's jump into the chat check. All right, let's look at our friend April. What's up, April? Good morning to you. Kevin, nice to have you. April, hello again. I like the exchange of good mornings. That always leads off our chat check. It's, you know what? We're a kind people here at the Farzy Show. We're a kind people. Fuji, what's going on? Brandon, nice to have you. Brandon, good morning. Thank God Ben is gone. Brandon, I'm right there with you, my friend. Sean, welcome in. Happy Harden Day, everyone. Katie is salty because he wants to be the only diva. April, that's a fine point. How can I be the diva when Ben's here now? Ben Simmons will be mentally ready to play March 11th. Like, I wouldn't put it past Ben Simmons to not play March 10th. Wouldn't put it past him a little bit. South Philly T, what's going on? Bring 3 bench players. Bring 3 bench players in. Foul Ben 18 straight times. About time Nets look up. About time Nets look up. We up 32-10. April, Danny's magically cured now. He connected them and said, he contacted them and said he is ready to play. He did reach out to the Nets already. Dan says the NBA, and Dan Schwartz, good morning. The NBA on TNT segment was hilarious. It was fantastic yesterday. CYO, Mike Fuji, CYO basketball kicked ass back in the day. I'll have you know, I'm in my CYO basketball Hall of Fame. You're damn right I am. I think it's more so because I played there in high school, too. I played 1 year freshman basketball at Archbishop Wood, and then I played CYO with my buddies. Thought the Raptors wanted to keep, who are we talking about here? Oh, Thad Young. Yeah, we'll see what happens on the buyout market there. That's what our friend Michael KB was talking to us about yesterday. How did Danny Green make it past the trade deadline, says Mally. Mally, good morning. I don't know. I thought for sure Danny Green was gone. Now here's, I don't know if Doc and Daryl Morey were kind of looking out for Seth Curry, because if James Harden's here in Philly and Seth Curry's here in Philly, Seth Curry isn't starting. Like, he's not starting over Tyrese Maxey. So I think that was maybe part of it, just speculation. Maybe that was part of it. He'll go with the Brooklyn Nets and he'll be a starter at least. So that might be part of it. The Mally, it's very nice of you. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Marc is happy because he's got the stripes on today. We changed our camera format. Are my stripes? Do they go bonkers when I wear the stripes on the show? They go bonkers. They look like they're all right. Shannon. Hello, Shannon. Oh, God, I got a Tristan Thompson reference already. Want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Ben's only mental issue is that he's a bitch. Sean, thank you. You know, when I saw the what's his Antonio Brown news come out that he's mentally fine, like he's fine, he's mental health issues, doesn't have mental health issues, he's fine in that regard. It made me feel good, because one thing I don't want to happen is we go too far the other way, and it's like anyone who's a complete jerk. Oh, well, they got mental health issues. No, they could just be a jerk. Like, I'm pretty sure Antonio Brown's just a jerk. So that's how I kind of look at that. And it's one thing for a guy to not want to be booed by fans, but he doesn't have a mental health issue. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at on that. Damn, okay, Mark, listening to the Hammer, good stuff. Oh, yeah, I like Joe. Joe's awesome. Joe and his baths. Yes, I remember at the, what was it? The Super Bowl parade in front of the Art Museum. I was on hold waiting to go on because I was doing live hits from the Art Museum steps as the parade, throughout the parade day. And I remember I had just heard for the first time Joe DeCamera talk about his baths. And he's like, oh, yeah, as soon as I get home, especially on a rainy day, I just get home, I take my clothes off, and I get in the bath right away. And then I remember the hit very next, and then they went to me. Like, that was my setup. And I remember I was interviewing a fan, and the fan started ripping clothes off. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't hear the previous segment where Joe's talking about stripping. And the fan starts taking his clothes off to show me underneath he's got like an Eagles tank top. And my line was, this fan right now is stripping. He is stripping like Joe DeCamera on a rainy day. And that got a big laugh from Joe and John. And we talked about it afterwards. And Joe just appreciated it. Like, his Joe can laugh at himself. That's one of Joe's great talents. Like, he doesn't take himself too damn seriously. But that was a fun moment I had on the air with those guys. We didn't share the mic or a show a lot, but that was a rare time, and it was very enjoyable. What did I miss here with Shannon? Did I miss something with Shannon? Oh, Shannon Sharp. Nima Rethatuthin. PJ, hat tip for explaining that to me. Kevin Guest, mental illness is a very real issue, and Ben used it as a scapegoat, especially after Lane and Brandon Brooks' openness about Ben. That was the way he handled it, an absolute disgrace. Yeah, Kevin, here. Mike Johnson, what's happening? Raymond James, the stadium? 76ers Morey gave up 3 players, 2 first-round picks for Harden and Millsap 50-50. 1-round knockout again. Harden next year wants to trade again, and he wants a ring. Raymond, are you saying you don't like the trade? Is that what you're telling me? Here's what's good. I can take James Harden on a little decline, considering he started at such a great level. I call me naive, but I think the Sixers scoring is going to go up. I think James Harden's scoring is going to go up. I think his numbers, his averages, his percentages are going to go up on this team. I'm very optimistic for what he could do for at least the rest of this year and next year, and then we'll see what the future holds. Oh yeah, Mallory's telling Raymond to be positive. Mike, what's going on? Ben is an absolute disgrace on a cosmic level. The mental health cop-out just pisses me off to no end. Mike Johnson, I fully agree. Kevin, good morning to you. Like, here's the thing. I'm trying to separate two things. I don't think the Nets are going to be terrible now, and I don't think Ben Simmons is going to be terrible. I still think Ben Simmons is a pretty damn good basketball player. But all the other stuff, I could not be more happy that he's gone. Mark must have smoked some of that Harden hemp this morning. Yeah. I did not, as you know, but yeah. Raymond, 5 points last game with loss, then tightness to trade, injury prone Harden. Raymond, we'll see how legit all that is, but I think I don't even think I'm being overly optimistic. I just think James Harden and James Harden and Joel Embiid will get this team pretty far. And here's a poll I did yesterday. I threw this out to some people. James Harden now in Philadelphia. What are your expectations for this Sixers season? Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, Championship. What is it? Most people have them at NBA Finals at 37%. Other people have them at least at the Conference Finals, and then almost 22% have them winning an NBA championship. All right, keep the votes coming on that poll. It's still going to be up for another for at least the rest of the day. So there you go. Also, I wanted to highlight this. I didn't know what this was. I was one of those people that doesn't spend eternity on the internet, as I think NBC Sports Philly described it. But apparently this is a guy who's at his hater's funeral. And that's what Joel Embiid tweeted after the trade went down. Marc, hate to tell you, everybody gets into CYO Hall of Fame. That is untrue, Mally. And I'm more so in that for probably post-CYO activity. Thanks again, Coach Mayo, Coach Cardi. You guys are awesome. Mike, is your birthday coming up? Happy birthday. Kevin, Harden will make more free throws in the next 3 years than Ben will make the rest of his career. You know, I thought you were going to go a little different way than that. I wonder if Harden in the next 2 years will make more free throws than Ben Simmons and his entire career in Philadelphia. That's what I'll be on the lookout for. Happy birthday, Mike. Glad Ben's gone for your birthday. Kevin, CYO basketball is the absolute bee's knees. Things got rowdy, I'll tell you that. Raymond, my man. For those that are unfamiliar with Raymond, I like to refer to him as the pouncer. Like he watches, he reads, he listens, and then pounce with a great take. Not a hot take, but a great take. And this is a great take from Raymond. Sixers gave up nothing. None of those players will be here next year, and those draft picks or nothing. I didn't want them to get rid of Maxey, so I like the trade. The fact that they hung on to these guys is great. It's absolutely fantastic that they hung on to Maxey, they hung on to Thibault. They kept that young talent here in Philadelphia to keep to stay around Joel Embiid and obviously James Harden for at least next year. So that for this year and next year, obviously. So I think that's why it's a great trade. The other thing is, Mike, what's up? You're welcome. The other thing is, when it comes to this deal in particular, it makes me think about some other deals that were kind of false prophets. When the Sixers traded for Dikembe Mutombo, I know a lot of people got hyped up like, oh, now you can compete against the Lakers. I never felt like the Sixers were going to beat the Lakers. When the Flyers traded for Peter Forsberg, and they were stacked with talent, I remember thinking, well, this is great, but I just don't see it happening for the Flyers. The Sixers make this move, and look, the jury's still out on Bryce Harper and the Phillies. A lot of years left on that contract. But right now for the Sixers, I see a championship with James Harden and Joel Embiid. I don't know if it happens this year. It could with how wide open everything is in the Eastern Conference. But the Suns are the team to beat. I think we all know that. But if you're going to take that measuring stick game, yes, they competed well against the Suns prior to the James Harden trade. They got a hell of a lot better with James Harden being here in Philadelphia. Over the next 2 years, I look forward to the process actually coming to a head and the Sixers winning a championship. That's how good I think they are, not just with James Harden now, but with Joel Embiid playing MVP level of basketball, Tobias Harris playing very well over the last month, averaging over 20 points a game, 22 points per game. That number definitely will go down. He's not going to get a lot of shots with James Harden here. But when he's going to be called upon, he'll be called upon to play well. Tyrese Maxey continues to improve, and then you have a defensive stalwart in Matisse Thybulle. I think the Sixers have one hell of a starting five. Now you got to get somebody to come off the bench and help you with rebounds because this team is terrible with rebounds. But you got to make sure you can fill out some other spots through the buyout market, and hopefully Daryl Morey doesn't stop here and he just keeps on going. And how about that? We talked about James Harden not coming to Philadelphia, and there's other moves that Daryl Morey could make that didn't involve Ben Simmons or James Harden. It's the only move he made at the deadline. So let's see how much more this team can get better as time goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening today. Today's my last day of my pseudo paternity leave. So regular scheduled programming starting on Monday. Before I sign off, though, what a Super Bowl we have on hand on Sunday. Bengals, Rams, folks. Bengals, Rams. I think the Rams win this game. I think what it comes down to is defensive line play. And it pains me to say that because I love the Bengals. I love Jamar Chase, love T. Higgins. I adore Joe Burrow. I think he's hilarious. I will be, if I'm betting the game, which I will be, I'll be betting the Rams, but I'll be pulling for Joe Burrow and the Bengals because I would love to see those guys win a Super Bowl. And look, Cincinnati, they've been without it forever. I'd love to see them be able to win that. LA didn't have a football team for the longest time, and there's a reason for that. They didn't care enough. And now somehow they got 2 all of a sudden. What? But yeah, I look forward to the Bengals. I hope they win, but I think it's a Rams game, and I think it's because it comes down to defensive line play in this one, and I think they have such a great defensive line out there in LA. I think that's ultimately what does it, and it's not like their offense is a slouch either. If you're going to have a high-powered game, a high-scoring game, these are the offenses to do it with, but it could come down to the difference being simply the defensive line of the LA Rams getting after Joe Burrow. And even if they do, hell, he got sacked, 9 times against the Titans, and he still won that game? Even if it comes down to that, I just think that they get too much of a tip of the cap. The Rams are just so good on that D-line that they'll end up winning this game. So that's where I see it playing out. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Thanks for being with me today, and also yesterday for our emergency show as well. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzy. This is the Farzy Show presented by DestinationRetirement.com here from the Steven Sayer Studios. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you on Monday. Take it easy.